It's not been a banner year for either the Saskatchewan Roughriders or the Montreal Alouettes, but there have been bright spots. For the Riders, second-year receiver Tony Dennis of Simon Fraser. The offensive player of the game last week against Montreal, number 88 has caught at least one pass in every CFL game he's played. For the Alouettes, Brett Williams, the man who calls himself the Toaster. Certainly that's tongue-in-cheek, but number 71 does combine a lot of youthful exuberance with size, speed, and talent to anchor Montreal's top defensive line. And for the second time in less than a week, they meet on opposite sides of the ball. Tonight, it's the Saskatchewan Roughriders and the Montreal Alouettes. Live from Olympic Stadium in Montreal, CTV's Friday Night Football. If not spectacular, the Riders' record is respectable, but not good enough in the Western Division. They trail a potential playoff spot by 5 points. The only team the Alouettes would have been worrying about this time last year is Ottawa. But under the new playoff format, they are 7 points behind in the race for postseason play. But neither team is yet to be eliminated and faces a similar challenge, winning every game they play from here until the end of the regular season. This is how they finish. Obviously, neither club has an easy task. And winning them all starts tonight for both the Roughriders and the Alouettes as they meet at Olympic Stadium. We have got perfect football weather in Montreal tonight. It is clear and cool, just a little breeze. The forecast calls for a little change for the rest of the evening. Hello again, everybody, and welcome to Friday Night Football on CTV. Obviously, the Alouettes' chances of making the playoffs are remote, but their head man, Gary Turchik, tells us his players have pride. They have next year's jobs to worry about. They want to win. They want to finish the season strongly. On the other side of the coin, Saskatchewan does have a legitimate shot at making postseason play. They don't need miracles, just victories. Jack Goda says his players know it, they believe it, and they will play like it. Now let's go upstairs to Pat Marsden and Leif Pettersson.
Thank you, Dan. Hello again, everybody. Back at the Big O in Montreal for a game that is so critical, as Dan has alluded to, the Saskatchewan Roughriders, for the reason that he mentioned, because if they do win them all, they can still make the playoffs, but maybe for an equally important reason.
Well, Pat, you know, players on both teams at this time of the year are really playing for their jobs next year and their futures in the CFL. So, you know, you take a team like Saskatchewan, Tony Slayton will start in the defensive backfield tonight. It's his first game. He wants to show that Jack Goda that he can be a starter for his club next year. And on the other side of the coin, a quarterback like Brian Ransom, he wants to show the entire Montreal organization that he can maybe be their quarterback of the future. And so in these last 4 games for both teams, the players want to play as well as they can. You know, coaches have a funny habit of remembering all the good things that the players do in October and November, and they have a habit of forgetting all the good things that they did in July. So they want to play well these last 4 games.
From a Saskatchewan point of view, there were a lot of good things last week when they beat Montreal 29-11. Can the Alouettes rebound?
Well, I think they can, because in the league they stand 3rd in total team defense. So, you know, anytime you've got good defense, you stand a good chance to win the ball game. Their problems have been quarterbacking. They've got to get Brian Ransom, who we talked about, and Walter Lewis moving that football team. They've turned the ball over with fumbles and interceptions far too much this year, but if they can play error-free and with that good defense, they got a great shot.
Well, the Saskatchewan Roughriders head coach Jack Goda is really, really happy with what he calls his front 7. He's talking about his offensive line and then his inside receivers in Dennis and Ray Elgard. Now, can Montreal's defense, which has played so well all year, contain them?
Well, I think they can. They got the good pass rush with Brett Williams and his group, so I think they can do it. For some final thoughts, let's join Dan Matheson down at field level.
And Lee, I think the good matchup to watch tonight will be strength against strength. That tough Montreal defense against a Rider offense which can really move the football. We'll see if they run 2 to 4 in just a moment. This is CTV's Friday Night Football.